Hi, it's John from North Star Nursery, Garden and Home, your coastal gardener. Bareroot roses have arrived. Very exciting. So if you're wanting to give a rose as a gift, they have arrived. Now, they are bare root. So, bare root meaning literally no soil. Okay? So if you are planning on taking this home to your lovely other half, it's going to need a pot. Or you need to heel it in to some moist soil until you're ready to plant. What I wanted to tell you or show you today is that, and I've kind of covered this before, but I think it's important to reiterate. A lot of the roses nowadays are machine pruned. So they go through, they're grown in the ground, and they go through with a machine that just pretty much prunes at this level. It doesn't do any detail work at all in the center because it's a machine. So with that said, what we need to do when we get these is to prune them to get them ready for the season ahead. Because unfortunately, when they machine prune, they're not really being careful about where the nodes are and if they're pointing outward. Remember, we always want to have all of our leaf nodes pointing outward so that we create an open structure in the center. This one, I'm not sure if you can see, has some canes that are in the center. We are going to actually get rid of those because we want this to be open. The goal that I always tell people is that when we are done pruning, we want to be able to set a bowl into these canes and it would be supported by that, which means that everything in the center has to go, okay? So I am going to be kind of ruthless, and as usual, you guys are probably going to react a little strongly. I wish I had speakers that showed me all the comments and the freak. I'm going to be really aggressive. Okay. Now, I'm not totally infatuated with this experience that's happening here. We have a really nice main cane. We have a secondary cane that's coming off of the crown. And honestly, I just think it's going to be problematic because of disease and there's already rubbing happening on this cane, and so we're actually going to get rid of that. Now remember, unless it's an heirloom rose or a climbing rose, all roses bloom off of new growth. So you actually want to be kind of aggressive. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said I would cut it down to 8 to 10 inches, and they were shocked. A lot of people take their bush roses down to like 2 or 3 feet, and it's just not enough because your rose plant now has to send all of that energy up higher and higher. The more work it has to do, the smaller the flowers are. So if you want larger flowers, you got to be more aggressive on pruning, unless it's an heirloom rose or a climber. Climbers and heirloom roses bloom off of old wood, so it's really important to leave that. We're also going to get rid of this cane in the center here, because again, I don't feel like it's ready to receive a bowl yet. So there you go. It's not like 100% perfect, but you get the gist. It's a nice open area. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to look at each cane. And you would do this. This is exactly what you would do at home. But what I would suggest is when you get bare roots home to go ahead and prune them because they have not been artfully pruned. These are really hard to read because the nodes are really kind of messed up from shipping. Again, I'm going to outside nodes. We are cutting at an angle. The reason we're cutting at an angle is so that when it rains, the water sheds off of those stems. so that you do not have any problem with disease perpetuating on those stems. Pruning is like my favorite thing to do. I think it can be such a game changer for so many plants. All right, there you go. So this is, of course, Dick Clark. This is a great rose, really, really wonderful fragrance, and it is available. So Bareroot, if you had any broken roots or anything like that, you could cut those off also. This is pretty clean. We had a few when we were processing them that had broken roots. That they really actually treat these plants pretty rough, and they're pretty strong about coming out of it. So there you go, Bareroot. Now, in Bareroot roses, we have quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to show you. Let's see if I can start from the beginning. Okay, so we're going to go reverse. Oh, there it is. Okay, so that pink one that just disappeared. This is going to be fun. This is All Dressed Up. This is Anna's Promise. This is Cecil Bruner. That's a climber. This one is Celestial Night. You're going too fast. This is Distant Drums. And then we had Dick Clark. Nope, that's 4th of July. 4th of July is a really gorgeous climber. Has really great multicolored flowers. That is, it's going Just Joey, Mr. Lincoln, and Neil Diamond. I know, I'm sorry, you guys. This is jumping around really fast on me. You know, technology. Just Joey or Joseph Scott. Anyways, we have a lot of really great roses in right now. They're not blooming, but I'm going to go ahead and try to put this up on Facebook and Instagram so that you guys can take a look at the different colors that we have. But lots of good ones right now, and definitely now is the time to shop for them because you get the best selection. I wanted to talk a little bit about pruning, also existing and specifically climbers. So, you know, last week? It was a few weeks ago or so. I talked about, can't see me now. I talked about the fact that plants can be very different. I think I was talking about it in regards to frost damage. And this is a perfect example of, this is a rose that is a climber called Altissimo. It's one of my other favorites. It's hard to get, but it's similar to Sally Holmes, which I absolutely adore in the sense that it's a single flower, but it's a blood red with a really, really nice cluster of yellow, bright yellow pollen stamens. So this one is definitely a little less disease resistant, you can tell, because it has some definite rust and black spot. And most roses this time of year are going to have some of that. That's just going to be the case. So with climbers, and actually with any rose in our area, it is really difficult for them to go dormant. And so what we want to do is actually encourage that dormancy. And how we do that, and this might seem a little bit overwhelming for some of you, is we strip the foliage off. That's how I do it. So at my house, what I do is about twice a year, I get on a ladder with my Sally Holmes and I strip it down and prune it. This guy has some offshoots that are here. These are the main canes. And so this is our structure that we're going to work off of each year. Now, if we were growing this at home and we wanted to grow it taller, we would just let it continue to go up, but still artfully prune during the year. And you're going for the same effect in the sense that you're going for nodes that point outward as opposed to nodes that are pointing inward into the frame of the plant. And what I do is I go to 2 nodes, and the second node is the one that's pointing outward. I'm going to change that on this one because it's too close to its friend. And ouch, those are thorns. This guy has also started to produce rose hips, which are really fun. So you can make rose hip tea or rose hip jelly. These up here are gorgeous. So clearly, Altissimo is a good rose hip producer. It's really pretty. You can just see almost the blood red tone of the flower in the top of the hip. So what you do is just go through and artfully cut back to 2 or so nodes. You can do more if you want to. I try to keep the structure pretty tight to the frame of the plant itself. And then again, just going through and making sure that you're getting rid of anything that's kind of crossing over. Up here is kind of a mess, so I'm going to clean this up a bit. Ow. Roses have thorns. When will I learn? Okay, let's get rid of all that. There we go. Had to cut the stretchy tape to release everything. So less is more. So don't leave a lot. So there we go. There is your basic structure. You can just kind of see there's lots of little arms that are coming off. Then what you want to do is also make sure that you remove any of the debris that is at the bottom on the ground or in the pot. Because if there's any disease or anything like that, it's going to perpetuate. If you leave those leaves, it'll just, when it rains, the rain hits the leaves and those spores just splash up onto the cane and or the leaves and perpetuate the mess. The other thing I do is I get rid of a lot of these little stems at the bottom. Depends on if you want stuff at the bottom. I like a nice clean framework at the bottom. It just makes me feel better. So there you go. Now, if you had problems last year with insects, with black spot, with powdery mildew, with rust, any of those things, now is the time to consider spraying. So the problem with spraying this time of year is making sure that we have 24 hours of dry weather. So if you spray and it rains within 24 hours, that spray is now canceled. So make sure you look at the weather. And then this is the horticultural oil. This works to suffocate any overwintering insects. This is also what you use on your fruit trees and your canes and berries for dormant spraying. And copper is the fungicide that takes care of the rust, the spots, black spot, and powdery mildew. So you want to spray that at least once a week for 3 weeks if you can, or at least get 3 sprays in before probably March 1st. Also, now is a time if you wanted to, after you're done fertilizing, or after you're done pruning, to start fertilizing. On my roses at home, mine are quite tall. They're probably about, maybe they're 12 or 15 feet. I use 3 cups of this per plant. If it's, as tall as this, 5 feet or so, I would say a cup to 2 cups. And that's scratched into the soil and then watered in really well, or you can let nature do it. If you're a water-soluble kind of fertilizer person, you can use Maxi. This works really, really well. My pantry basic is just the 1616. This works on everything, indoor, outdoor. Love it on houseplants. Love it on everything. But if you wanted to go flower-focused, you could go with the Maxi Flower. And this has a low nitrogen, 3-20-20. All right. The other thing I wanted to let you know, I want to show you a few things, but also wanted to let you know that right now the Christmas Christmas shop is all 50% off. And so I would come in and scoop up what you want. We are discontinuing some of our themes because we've just kind of, I think, run their course. And so what we're going to do is look for new themes when I go to market in January. If you guys are thinking of anything that you want for Christmas, for every day, for any of that, please, by all means, message me and let me know what you're looking for, because you can kind of think of me as your personal shopper. On a really, I think it's exciting, on an exciting note, we got more of these, I call them like fence post garden art. So this is the cow, the one that I'm really excited about. I probably didn't buy enough of them. This is the Highland cow. Highland cows are extremely popular this year. It's very, very fun. The other one that came in is the donkey. That'll do, donkey. I love it. For those of you that want a horse but don't want to have to pay for any feed. And then same thing. Anybody for a llama? These are just so much fun. Bunny. A raccoon that doesn't get into your trash. A sheep. And for those of you that have a hunter in your life, it's a nice little buck with a nice little rack. Chickens. And goats. All right. There you go. These just came in, so we have them in stock right now. And if you want any of the bigger ones, I would get in here sooner than later or give us a call. Alrighty, you guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope your holidays are going well. We will be open on Christmas Eve from 10 to 2. We will not be open on New Year's Eve because we couldn't get enough coverage to actually be open. So we will be closed on New Year's Eve. And then we will close from New Year's Eve until that following Friday. And we will reopen on that Saturday with our annual houseplant and indoor pottery sale. So hopefully you're all doing well, and I will look forward to seeing you at the nursery.